what we're seeing is Christian hip hop being that voice that Paul was in the marketplace. So I'm proud of it, and I'm honored to take part. So I think Christian hip hop is in a healthy space, man. I'm seeing a lot more infrastructure. I'm seeing a lot more Holy Smokes, a lot more Glow Fest. I'm seeing a Servo Fest. Like, there's so much more infrastructure. I feel like we still have a lot way to go. Like we was just saying, bro, in Cleveland, it's slim pickings, bro. It's not much. We maybe that's something for somebody like me or somebody to come along and try to create something. But I can't say, and you could definitely speak to this because you've been around longer than me. But I think compared to 10 years ago, I think we're in a much healthier space. I think it's more feasible to do a career as a Christian rapper today than it ever's been.
Coming live on your radio. What they want? That real and raw. How they get it? DJ Focus. What we doing? Making music, reaching the corner, and it's all for the kingdom. And we gon' make sure they know it. Ooh, 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 ooh. We gon' take it there. I like red letters over trap beats to fix it, saying ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh.
Welcome back. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. It's time for our spiritual detox. And yeah, we got hometown heroes. One of the little young bulls from the land is on with us right now. We listen, let's be very clear. We don't have too many that do it in our space that come from Cleveland. Let's be very clear. So when we get somebody with a high quality and high bars, I had the opportunity of working with him earlier this year. Shouts out to we took care of the little Kings Movement Cypher at the Word Church doing, Chris Broussard had his whole Kings Movement event. And he was one of the lyricists, and everybody, I promise you, everybody in the crowd was asking who was that? Who was that? And I was proud. It was a proud moment because again, they always say we ain't got no bars coming from our city. So we put on and took care of that little light work. Listen, the one and only Rob Nora. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? The infamous DJ Focus.
Man, listen, it's hard, but it's fair. That's what somebody told me.
Yeah, man.
Good to see you, my brother. I'm good, man. It's good to see you, man, and hear you, man. I'm excited for you, man. You got a project out that I know people need to sit with and hear.
Yeah.
But before we even get to this project, man, for those who may don't know you, man, share a little bit of your faith journey with the people, your faith walk, and how that kind of molds you into who you are as a, man of God, a husband, a lyricist, entrepreneur, and everything you do.
Yeah. No, for sure, bro. I mean, for as much as it's worth, I was kind of raised in the church. I mean, my mom started taking me and my younger sister to a church in our city when I was about 7. And bro, I just been within a local church context ever since. So I was raised by my mom. It was me, my mom, my younger sister. A lot of help from family members, stayed with family for a long time. Really didn't have our own place until maybe like 11, 12. So we stayed with family a whole lot. And my uncle and my auntie on my mother's side, her brother and his wife, they're pretty solid believers, and they play a huge role in my faith journey. Man. So like growing up in the church, I mean, I loved it. They had after school programs. They fed us. They had activities for us. It was great. Basketball. But it wasn't until I was 19 when I had my son where a lot of these things started to hit the fan. A lot of what I believed and how I lived that dissonance was so strong that I cowered under that pressure and just kind of, I don't know, lay dormant, for lack of better terms. That sounds real churchy, but just kind of just didn't make much of this faith that's been installed in me. I've been reading 2 Timothy, and when Peter tells Timothy, fan into flames the gift that was given to you, the faith that was passed on from your grandmother, your mother, and I'm sure that is in you. I resonated with that, knowing that this faith has been instilled in me, within family, within a church community. But as for most stories, it wasn't until a real season of crisis where I was able to encounter Jesus for who he is. Yeah.
Well, listen, stay right there. So, a crisis happens and you kind of really like encounter Jesus. Like,
Mm,
walk us through that though. So, like,
okay.
because a lot of times, people, they have these crises or something happens, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean they still submit to what God has told
Yes.
them to do or whatever God reveals to them.
Yes. No, good question. Yeah, so for me, how it played out was essentially to give even fuller context. We had our son in the beginning of 2020. So like the pandemic hit February, March 2020. My son was born in April.
Hmm.
So like right in like the thick of it, felt like the whole world was on fire. You know, you got a pandemic, and then here in the States we have a lot of racial tension. Like, I was downtown with the folks who was protesting. There was just a lot of crazy things happening. So for me, what that looked like was the love of our heavenly Father allowing me to get as lost as I'd like to be. So practically, what that looked like was, getting lost in my addictions: pornography, weed, sex, food, sleep, fame. These were things that, I had no consistency as far as holding a job. I worked so many jobs within that 12-month span. It was ridiculous. But so there's one component of it, God allowing me to be a prodigal. And then on the other hand, though, the pastor I grew up with, the same church that my mom would take us to when we were younger, I started coming back around, and we would meet on like a weekly, semi-weekly basis. And I remember when we would first start meeting, about a month into us meeting, he'd give me advice, and my response would be, I know, I know, I know. I remember one time we met up, and he's giving me some advice, and he was like, okay, since you know everything, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut our
Mm.
meeting short today. He told me, read through the book of Galatians and just highlight anything that sticks out to you. So I'm like, all right. So I go back home, I do that, and that was the start of the rest of my life in a lot of ways with Jesus. I don't have a story that like one night I was this way, the next morning I was this way, but I do have a story of what turned into studying the book of Galatians, turned into reading through other epistles like Colossians, and then it turned into now when I just remember clearly reading through Colossians 3, where Paul talks about, since Christ has been resurrected, so are we, and our life that is hidden in God with Christ who is our life, when he is revealed, you also will be revealed in glory. And then it goes on to talk about how we ought to
Mm.
live in light of being resurrected with Christ. That just blew my world open of like, whoa, like Christianity is not merely reserving myself from doing bad things, but I have a mission I can give myself to. Jesus dealt with all of my fragility, all of my death through his atonement, and then in the resurrection I have power, I have life, I have satisfaction, I have joy. And the rest, since then I've been really trying to work that out in real time. So I don't know if that answers your. I feel like I just went all over the place, but hopefully that answers some of your
No,
question.
no, for sure. It answered it, and I like for the listeners to hear, real transparency of, the ups and downs of your
Yes.
walk.
Yes.
The sanctification process is a daily thing. We all go through that daily. So yeah,
Yes.
no, that was beautiful. So when did you pick up the pen and figure out you had this gift of, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, for sure.
rappity rapping?
For sure, man. So I remember first time I ever wrote something. I was 7 years old, right? I remember the
Okay.
song at the time. I was in daycare. There was Shorty had them apple bottom jeans, boots with like. Remember that song?
Yeah, yeah. Low, 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 low.
Yep. So I remember going home and like making my own version of that, like writing my own, like, I don't know, just filling in the blank. It was the same song, but I just put my own words in it, I guess. And then that was like a one-time thing. I never did it again. And then around 12, I was at day. Everything significant in my life happened at daycare. Now that I think about it, for better or worse. When I was 12, I had a friend. His name was Eric. He was a rapper, and he was like, Rob, you gotta write this verse with me. I'm like, whatever. And I fell in love with it, man, to the point where I was playing football one summer, the summer before high school started, and I had played football the year prior, and I remember getting ready to play football again, and I stopped going to practice just so I could write raps. I was like, nah, I found what I love, and I want to devote my time to that. So it was around 12, 13, I started to figure out, I love this. I love writing this way. And at that time, I loved the reaction that people gave me too. I love that they were like, I lived and died on the affirmation of people, especially those days. So like, for people to be like, Rob, you got it, that was like, that was all I needed. So it was about like 12, 13.
So walk us through your creative process. When you go in the lab, are you one that have to write your bars first? Do you have to have a beat? Are you already singing the hook? Like, how do you create a track?
Yeah, it's never the same. Every song is almost different. Very early on, my process was I had a verse ready and I try to like force it into whatever instrumental I liked. And most times that's like trying to fit, a square peg in a circle hole. It's like, it's like, yeah, but nah. So now these days I'm a lot more inspired by the music itself. So, I'll hear an instrumental, I'll hear a beat, and I'm like, this is gonna sound super whatever, but it's true. Like it'll speak to me. It'll be like the music will bring something out of me that then the lyrics will follow. So the music itself is the most inspirational piece, at least at this part of my creativity. That I'll hear something and I'm like, yeah, no, this got me wanting to cook up. So that's kind of what it looks like these days. Or like if you go through my phone on my voice memos, I got a whole bunch of hook references where I'm just like, I have a melody in my head. I'll wake up with melodies in my head sometimes and just be like, all right, I'm gonna record that, see if I can use that later.
Come on, Rob, man. You were blessed to be a part of the Elevation worship situation this year. Shouts out to my brother Mike Mack.
Legend.
Talk about that experience, man. Talk about that experience.
Crazy. So I don't know how much context you want, but I'm gonna try to condense it. So essentially, this what happens is, all the way back in 2021, I got invited to come out to Holy Smoke because I won a challenge. I went out there, I did the cipher, and then in a cipher, when you're the last to go, you expected to bring it home, and I choked. I choked in mid cipher. So after that happened, I came back home. I was kind of discouraged because I had unrealistic expectations. I thought that me going to Holy Smoke was like gonna boom, when really it was just, it's networking. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, So anyways, I go back home. Long story short, I put music down low key. So from about 2022 to like the end of 2023, like I released a song or two, but I wasn't, man, I was serving incarcerated youth in my city. I was in seminary. I'm like, Lord, I feel like you're taking me in a new direction. Some really pivotal things have happened in my life within the past year that have brought up a lot of pain. That when that started to happen, the only way I found a need to let that out was through music. So I worked on this album starting the last October, and I'm getting somewhere with the elevation piece. But I started working on this project back in October, and with the expectation of saying I'm probably gonna release this, let it do what it do, and probably rinse my hands. And then around April, I get followed by a page called Elevation Project. I'm seeing certain people a part of it, like Mike Mack. I met Mike back in 21 when I went to Smoke. A couple other artists I know. They're talking about doing like a cohort where they choose 10 artists from across the country, take them to Boston for a week, and just dump resources, A&Rs, a community, just all that you could think of, with the intentions of saying we want to help you do this full time. So they follow me, and then they're like, hey, you should apply for our thing. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it. I talked to one of my boys. He like, look, bro, the worst that could happen is they don't choose you. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I applied for it. They get back to me saying, congrats, we selected you. I'm like, all right, bet. Only problem is I had no PTO days to take from my job to go on this trip. So I'm like, all right, Lord, I don't know what I'm about to do. And I tell you, this is the Lord. This is all the Lord. I scheduled an appointment with our HR lady at my job to see if there's any way we could work around this. And literally like 30 minutes before I was supposed to have that meeting, My supervisor come in my office who know nothing about what I got going on. She just comes off a sabbatical, and she's like, Rob, I got 17 PTO days, and I want you to have 5 of mine to use however you want. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Wow.
I'm like, you don't even know what you just did. So I had to break it down to her like crazy. So long story short, I booked those PTO days. I go out to Boston, and man, the Elevation Project. Shout out to Mike Mack and all the people behind Mike Mack and Invite Only who are putting that stuff together, like Alu. I'm gonna forget some people. Alu's the first person that comes to mind, but there are so many people with Mike Mack that are making this thing happen that aren't just talking with their mouth, but are putting their money. Like, man, you don't know, they invested. And they we trying to recoup on that investment, and honestly they're looking at the artists they poured into as that return on their investment. And I'll say that if you look at every single one of us in that class who went this past June, you'll see all of us are blossoming as artists because of that work and investment that they put in. So Elevation, man, literally it confirmed God's call for me to do this, for me to pursue this. So man, without Elevation, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you right now.
Listen, so did they help with some of the tracks on this new project?
Not at all. No. That was all me. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No, I was just wondering. I'm about to say okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about this new project. Come on and talk about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's called Good Company. And like I mentioned earlier, it really came from another crisis that I had that I won't go into too much detail on now. If you listen to the project, you'll pick up on what I'm putting down. But it's this idea of, man, fundamentally, what I see in the scriptures from beginning to end is Yahweh's desire for humanity is to be satisfied in them having knowledge of himself and him having knowledge of them. The New Testament uses this word know. Well, we see it in the Old Testament too. That word know or knowledge, or they knew each other, or knowledge of God, that is not a mental assent to affirm some doctrine. That is an intimate kind of knowledge. Some will go as far as to say it's the intimacy that Adam and Eve had in their marriage. That's that type of intimacy, like a knowledge of God or a knowledge of self. So good company is this idea of, especially when I'm in the darkest situation, especially when I'm the most heartbroken, especially when it feels like I'm the most hypocritical I've ever been in my life, especially when I feel like I'm in the deepest of despair, does God say you are in good company with the Father, Son, and Spirit. The scriptures say that he is near to the brokenhearted. Isaiah says that the high and lofty dwells with the lowly and contrite in spirit. This holy God, Jesus said, I've come for those who know that they are sick, not those who think they don't need a doctor. The heart of God breaks for the most broken of people. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God. This is the subversive good news that says you're rich when you're poor. You're healthy when you recognize you're sick. This is the heart of God. And when you grow up in church, it's easy to amen these things with your lips. But when the going gets tough, we're proposed with an opportunity to become humble, only to be exalted by God and discover the riches of grace. So that's kind of the heart behind this project, but it's really it's a narrative. It's telling the story of the past couple months for me, and I'm just thankful for how it's already working in people's lives, and I'm sure it's working in people's lives in ways I won't know until heaven. But yeah, bro, it's a piece of work I'm very proud of, for sure.
What's your favorite track on it?
Oh man, it changes every day.
What's that one that but what's that one that you sit with and you like, man, that's this one really hit me because it really was me. Like I put everything into this song. If people really knew, if they really listen and really sit with it, they'll see that no, this is really me.
The tension. That's the second song off the project. It's called The Tension. The tension is like, it's my doctoral statement. It's my thesis. If I was a preacher, that'd be my sermon. It would be the tension. There's a lot in there.
A lot in there.
Yeah, it's a
You know,
lot
I
of
got to ask you before I get you out of here, man.
bro.
What's your thoughts, man, on the state of Christian hip hop, man? We know,
Mm,
I don't know if you know, but did you
mm,
see that? You know, we're starting to be in more spaces now. Let's be very clear. We just saw, just recently,
come
Kendrick
on,
Lamar shouting out
right,
Lecrae and D1
right.
in the track. So talk about it.
Bro. I'm not gonna lie. I am very proud of the pioneers of this tradition of Christian hip hop. People like a Lecrae. But I was just think, bro, the first rap show, not just Christian, the first rap show I ever saw was D1, Lecrae, and Propaganda at the Messianic Auditorium on Euclid. That was
Yes,
the
sir. I remember
first,
that. I was
bro.
there. I was
That
there.
was like 10 years ago, bro. And you know they've all taken very different trajectories in their career, but all that to say, man, bro. I mean, Lecrae. If you've been following Lecrae's journey, it's no. He talks about how he's had a relationship with Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Even D1.
Facts.
You know, we see he's had a relationship with Kendrick. But I think that the watching world is looking for something with substance. I think, and to be clear, they might not always cling to a Christian hip hop, but they're gonna cling to an artist that feels like they're bringing them something deeper than a party song. This is why Kendrick, in my opinion, won the beef. Is because Kendrick represents something that offers more than just I look good, I sound good, and I'm gonna be good till I die. Like Kendrick represents the Black American experience to a lot of people. Therefore, they want to cling to him. You know what I'm saying? He's a voice. People feel like Kendrick is their voice. You know, and how
Mm,
much more? What we're seeing in Kendrick now is he is longing for something that only the Christian tradition has to offer. In this last song he
that's good.
posted, he talked about I want a new earth or something like that. And KB just posted something in response to that where he's like, I know that new earth you're talking about. I have what I think
Fact.
about Paul in Acts when he's talking with the philosophers and he says, he talks about the unknown God. He's like, I know who this unknown God is that you're searching for. What we're seeing is Christian hip hop being that voice that Paul was in the marketplace. So I'm proud of it and I'm honored to take part. So I think Christian hip hop is in a healthy space, man. I'm seeing a lot more infrastructure. I'm seeing a lot more Holy Smokes, a lot more Glow Fest. You know, I'm seeing a Servo Fest. Like there's so much more infrastructure. I feel like we still have a lot way to go. Like we were just saying, bro, in Cleveland, it's slim pickings, bro. It's not much. We maybe that's something for somebody like me or somebody to come along and try to create something. But I can't say, and you could definitely speak to this because you've been around longer than me. But I think compared to 10 years ago, I think we're in a much healthier space. I think it's more feasible to do a career as a Christian rapper today than it ever's been. You know, so I'm
Yeah.
proud of CHH.
That's good. That's good. Listen, I got to ask you a supergroup question. I'm gonna get you out of here, man. If you create a
Yeah.
supergroup, and add 3 artists to it, you still the lead MC, but you had 3 artists to pick from any genre of music, dead or alive, to form a supergroup. Who you picking?
Oh my God, the pressure. So 3 including me, so 4 total.
Yes, sir.
Oh my. Okay. Let me not take too long. I can think too long. Okay. Um, 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 bro, I gotta choose. I gotta choose Lauren Hill. She's one of my favorites. Um,
Okay.
I gotta do. I gotta do Andre 3000. Um,
Okay.
dang, one more. Andre
Yeah.
3000, Lauren Hill, myself. Man, what the heck? I say Thames. You hip to Thames?
Wow, you went Tim's.
I
That's
say
interesting.
I say Thames, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, give it a little Afro, little touch to it. Afro
yeah,
beat, a little
yeah,
touch to it. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That's what's up, man.
If you ask me
Listen,
in an
I
hour,
appreciate you.
that's change.
Oh, it's gonna change. Who?
It,
So,
it,
so, so who's that? What producer would you pick?
oh my God, Pharrell,
You only got one. For real?
Pharrell,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's done. That's done.
Pharrell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real, gonna bring the best out of everybody. That's done deal. All
Pharrell.
right, Rob, man, I appreciate you, man. Come on and tell the people how to connect with you, follow you on all your social media platforms,
Yeah,
as well
tap
as tell people about the project.
For sure, for sure. Tap in with me everywhere on social media at From Rob Nor, FROMROBNOR. If you heard this interview, DM me. Let me know what you think. The project is called Good Company, GOOD Company. And yeah, Spotify, Apple Music is just Rob Nor, ROBNOR. And yeah, man, thank you, Focus. This is long overdue. Let's do it again, bro.
For sure. We're going to talk real soon. We're going to a break. We'll be right back. You're tapped into the Fixx. You know the Fixx is in.